What's up, everyone? It's your boy Jason, and I am back. I'm sure you've been wondering where I've been, what's going on, what's going on with the jam sessions. I took a little break just to re-strategize, and so you'll see a little something new. I'm going to reserve the jam sessions for conversations with friends and different people. And then I'm starting a new thing. The Jam Sessions presents the Martin Moment, where it'll be things like this, where it's just me, just sharing a couple of nuggets, a couple of things that I just really feel led on my heart to share with you all, and hope that it helps encourage, build, and just keep you pushing forward. And so today will be the first installment of the Jam Session presents the Martin Moment. So let's get into it. And welcome back. We are back. And listen, so today I want to talk about distractions. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine last night, and there was just some things going on in my own personal life, and they were like, they're nothing but distractions. And I was like, yeah, I know. They said, what you have to figure out, though, the question you have to ask yourself is, what are these distractions distracting you from? And I was like, wow, that's the thing. He said, because whatever it's distracting you from, that's what you need to be doing. That's what you need to figure out, and not allow these distractions to do that to you. So I was like, wow, that is so good. And so today, that's what we're going to talk about, distractions. I just want to share a couple of tips, nuggets, and hopefully it helps you all not be distracted in this season. So, first, as we get going, I always like to define things. So let's talk about the definition of distraction. What exactly is distraction? Distraction is a thing that prevents someone from giving full attention to something else. And number two, distraction is extreme agitation of the mind or emotions. And so, I was looking at that, and I'm like, man, things can really be a huge distraction, and I started thinking about things that started happening with me. And I was realizing that a lot of the reason why you haven't seen a jam session is because I was distracted. I was allowing these things to distract me from what I knew I should be doing. My friends started calling me and texting me like, hey, how's your podcast going? Where is the next episode? We're sitting here waiting. When are you going to drop another one? And I'm like, I'm going to do it. And I hadn't done it. And so today I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be distracted any longer. I'm just going to hit record, and we're going to do this, and we're going to see what happens. And so with that, let's talk about distraction. There are 3 types of distraction. And the 3 main types of distractions are visual. An example, taking your eyes off the road while you're driving. That's a visual distraction. Manual, taking your hands off of the wheel. And then lastly, cognitive, taking your mind off of driving. And so, when you look at those 3 different things, visual, what is that? In the example of driving a car, it's taking your eyes off of the road to look at something else. Have you ever done that? You go to look at a building or a landmark, you start swerving, and you got to get your eyes back on the road. Sometimes distractions in our lives will cause us to do that. It will cause us to look at whatever that thing is, whatever that issue is, whatever that problem is, whatever that outside noise is, will cause us to take our eyes off of the prize, off of the mark, off of the target, off of the objective, off of the goal that we have. And we'll start swerving. We'll start being led astray, and we'll have to come right back. And so, we don't want those. We don't want those type of distractions. So if that's you, if you're wondering, why have I been veering off? Maybe because you are falling victim to a visual distraction that now has your attention, that is taking your focus off of that you should be focused on, and you're focusing on something that you shouldn't be. So that's one thing. Manual. In the example of driving a car, taking your hands off the wheel. Well, what does that look like in my life when you talk about distractions? Manual distractions, when you talk about a manual distraction, it's out to give my example. Me actually recording and doing this episode or doing the jam sessions. I physically stopped doing them because I was distracted by something else. So I took my hands off the wheel. I took my hands off the plow, and what was supposed to be causing me to move forward or to advance, I start to lose control because I'm no longer steering. The distractions are now steering, and I'm going wherever the distraction tells me to go versus owning and not being distraction. And I am in control of the car or the vehicle or the dream or the progression of my life. That's number two. If that's you, put your hands back on the wheel, hit record again, try it again, try that thing again, go back at that dream, move forward. Don't allow distractions to be the driver. You get back in the driver's seat. Number three, cognitive, taking your mind off of driving, which was one of the definitions, agitating in the mind. The Bible says in James that a double-minded man is unstable in all of his ways. If you are so double-minded, like 1 minute I want to do this, the next minute I want to do this, and have you ever been in a situation where you want to do a thing, or you've been thinking about, okay, I really want to do this, and then just all these distractions, all these crazy thoughts, reasons why I can't do it because of this, or I can't do it because of that, and all these things are coming up to try to distract you from doing that you should be doing. One of my former pastors, still a mentor of mine, Pastor Chris, used to always say this: if the devil can't slow you down, he'll speed you up. He'll cause you to be so distracted in being busy with things that you shouldn't be doing that you lose focus and sight of what you should be doing. That's cognitive. Your mind just is racing. It's racing, and you can't even slow down long enough to do what it is you should be doing because you're just racing. You're always thinking about the worst. I can't do this, or what if people don't watch? What if people don't listen? What if no one shows up to the event? But you're supposed to do the event, but now you don't want to do it because your mind is off. Your mind is off of the goal. Your mind is off of the task because of these distractions. So don't allow these distractions to happen. Okay, so Jason, how do we deal with distractions? Well, I'm glad you asked. So let's go to number one. The one way to minimize and to deal with our distractions is starve your distractions, feed your focus. Starve your distractions, feed your focus. Listen. If you would begin to just ignore the distractions, they will die off. What keeps the distraction going, what keeps these issues and these things going, is you giving it attention. And versus feeding that is distracting you, that coworker or this person that's just always got your name in their mouth, always talking, like, ignore it. My grandparents used to always tell me, you don't have to defend a lie. You don't have to defend a lie. It's a lie. It's going to die away. Don't give fuel to it. Don't give energy to it. So starve the distraction and feed your focus. What is that I should be focused on? And versus listening to the naysayers and being distracted by whatever is going on around me, I'm going to choose to keep my focus, on the road ahead, to keep my focus on the task ahead, to keep my focus on the things that I should be doing to get me to the next step, to get me to my next destiny. So number one, starve your distraction, feed your focus. All right, let's go to number two. Number two, do less with more focus. This is a good one. Do less with more focus. I had a friend tell me, he used to always say, Jason, I would rather be great at one thing than to be average at a bunch of things. And I think sometimes we get stuck there. We think, well, as long as I'm doing all this and that, then, kudos to me because I'm trying to do all of these things. But it doesn't matter if you're doing 10 things halfway. I'd rather you do one thing great and get 9 other people to do the 9 other things great versus you trying to take on all these tasks yourself and do one thing. So do less with more focus. So instead of having to split your focus up amongst a bunch of things, let's minimize it to one or two things that you can focus more on and be better at, or get to that. You know, it's like the snowball effect when they're teaching you about getting out of debt. They'll tell you to pay the smallest things off first. And as you pay those things off, it will become a snowball effect. You will begin to build momentum and confidence. Like, okay, before I didn't think I could get out of this because my focus was split up amongst all of these bills that I had. But instead of that, I did less with more. So what I begin to do is I begin to focus on the smaller things and not on the big picture. I set my sight, I focused, and as I begin to knock out those things, then I could focus on the next major thing. And before you know it, now I'm out of debt. Now I'm out. It's even like shooting. You know, if you've ever gone to a shooting range or whatever, they have sights. And what you do is you focus on your target. But if you get distracted and you're looking at everything about, you'll never hit the bullseye. You'll start hitting other things, or you'll be so distracted that you won't even take the shot. Don't be that person. Don't be so distracted by things around you that you don't even take your shot. You don't even shoot your shot. You don't even go after those goals and dreams because you've allowed distractions to freeze you in your steps. So that's point number 2. Do less with more focus. Point number 3. Focus on the right things. I wanted to save this for last because this was critical. This is huge. Focus on the right things. Listen, you could focus on a lot of stuff. And if you're not careful, you will be, as we've been talking, you will be focused on the distractions. You have to learn to focus on the right things. Well, what are the right things, Jason? You know, I can't tell you exactly what the right things for you. I know for me, and again, in this example, the right thing that I should have been focused on was doing this, was doing videos to encourage you all versus being focused on these distractions that were not encouraging me at all. They were discouraging me. And then I'm no good. I'm no good to you all. I'm no good to myself if I'm sitting in a state of discouragement. And so I had to shift my focus and to begin to focus on the right things. It might be for you. It might be family. Maybe, you know, you look at this pandemic and a lot of people again were, you know, oh man, we're shut down. I don't know what to do. But some of you, this was the best thing that could have happened to you because you were so focused on your career and doing all of those things that you should have been focused on, like family or relationships or whatever else, you really didn't. And now because of this stop, it caused you to shift your focus. And now look at you. Now look at you. You're better. You know, you've gained some other skills. I know for me, I was doing a lot of touring and traveling. And now that I had the downtime, I was able to shift my focus and hone in even more on other gifts and talents that God has put inside of me that I just didn't have the time to necessarily put the type of focus in that I needed. And that's another thing that I want to kind of say here. And I'm going to say this very carefully, but I need you to understand me on this. Sometimes if you're not careful, success can be a distraction. You can be so distracted about current success that it stops you in your track and you never reach and you never try to go for more because I'm too distracted on what I feel is my current success. And you cannot get stuck there. You cannot get, if you're not careful, success will be more of an enemy than it is an ally. So you have to focus on the right thing. So listen, this has been a Martin moment. I hope that this encouraged you. And listen, if you are stuck, if you have been distracted beyond belief, you're not alone and you don't have to stay there. You can choose today to no longer be distraction, to no longer be distracted. You can focus on the right things. I'm telling you, focus on the right things. Starve your distraction, feed your focus, do less with more focus, and then focus on the right things. I hope this was good. Welcome to the first installment of the JAMSessions presents the Martin Moment. We'll do more of these and stay on the lookout for the next JAMSessions because I will have some friends on with me for sure the next JAMSessions. And I hope that you were encouraged. And again, minimize, starve the distractions, feed your focus. I will talk to you on the next video. Peace out.